And it's a good thing because when we were supposed to do this last time, we were snowed out. But anyway, it's a pleasure for me to be here. I want to begin by thanking you for what you do, and thank you, John, and the board, and all of you. This is the best thing about Rhode Island is I just looked out and saw a childhood friend who I haven't seen in a long time. Nothing happens in Rhode Island, or anywhere really, unless it happens at the grassroots level. When the community comes together, great things happen. And that's what this chamber is about. You're deeply committed to Rhode Island, deeply committed to the region. I love hearing how many employees there are at AAA or Pawtucket Credit Union. As I look around the room, I see so many people who've supported many of my initiatives in my time in government, so I want to thank you. Truly appreciate all that you do and your commitment to Rhode Island. I also want to recognize a few of my colleagues in government. I saw Mayor Lombardi, good to see you. Town Manager Joe Almond, Senator Picard, Rep. Phillips, Rep. Newberry. Thank you for what you do, and it's a pleasure to work with all of you guys. So, in the time that I've been governor, I have focused, as you know, on creating jobs. The day I was elected governor, we had the highest unemployment rate in America. 2014, most of the rest of New England and actually the country had come out of the recession in 2014, but we hadn't. We were stuck. Dead last, highest unemployment rate in America. And we've worked hard together over the past couple years to create opportunity for the people of Rhode Island. And I'm very pleased to say that for the first time in a very long time, I announced 2 weeks ago that our unemployment rate is below the national average, 4.5%. We haven't been able to say that in a long time. Together, we've created almost 15,000 private sector jobs. Now, I'm not satisfied. There's a lot more to do. But that is a great deal of progress, and that's 15,000 families that have a little more security, have a lot more security than they did when we started our work together. A few weeks before I was elected, Gallup, the survey operation, did a survey, and they ranked our business climate dead last, 50 out of 50. They came out with that same survey a month ago, we were 28. So from 50 to 28 in 2 years shows that what we're doing is making a difference. And now, of course, we have to get together to go from 28 to the top 10. And I think we can do it. I know we can do it. We are absolutely on our path. And John was just mentioning something about entrepreneurship and becoming more entrepreneurial. Recently, the United States Chamber of Commerce says Rhode Island is #2 nationally for entrepreneurship and innovation. So I know you're proud of the state that you're in, but I hope that you see the visible signs of progress that we're all making together. Mark mentioned the roads. Yes, not only are we repairing over 100 bridges right now, and you see the signs wherever you go, but over 800 people are working doing it. So we are visibly improving our business climate by improving our infrastructure. But a lot of guys with hard hats are out there working, and I gotta tell you, they weren't working a few years ago. And you know how desperate that situation was. So together we have really improved our business climate, and we're starting to see the results. Over the past couple of years, and I have to thank the Assembly, the General Assembly, they've been a great partner to me in this. Twice we've cut the corporate minimum tax. Last year we wrote about an unemployment insurance tax cut for the first time since 1994. We've really, every time Rhode Island has touched taxes in the past decade, it's been to lower them. This year, I hope that we'll get together to reduce car taxes and property taxes. And again, I'm not saying the job is done, not even close, but slow and steady, clear progress to improving our business climate, making it easier and cheaper to do business in Rhode Island. So this year, I'm focused on two things in particular. One is reviving or supporting and growing our manufacturing sector. There's an opportunity right now in America to create more jobs in the manufacturing industry. That's a fact. Energy prices, labor prices are going up abroad. Manufacturing is more technical, more advanced. Many of you know this, you run businesses. So the advantages of doing manufacturing in Asia are reduced, which means there's an opportunity to bring some of these jobs back to America or increase job growth in America. I want to make sure Rhode Island gets our fair share, actually more than our fair share of those jobs in Rhode Island. We're a state that's known for the things we make. When I was a kid, when I got out of high school, 40% of jobs in Rhode Island were in manufacturing. Think about that. Probably if I asked for a show of hands, how many of you have people in your family who work in manufacturing, it'd be most of you. That's what we did. Now, but then, of course, it was jewelry and watches and knives. And that manufacturing, I don't think, is going to come back. Lower skill, lower tech. But now, higher skill, higher tech manufacturing, we have an opportunity to really expand in Rhode Island. We make the most sophisticated submarines in the world in North Kingstown, Rhode Island. I convened an advisory group of manufacturers. We had our first meeting last week. It was amazing. Amazing that we're going to help each other. We're going to focus on what they need to grow here. Every one of these businesses was growing. So, in addition to convening this group, the two areas of focus I have for manufacturing, one is making it easier for smaller manufacturers to buy equipment, and the other is making it easier for smaller manufacturers to train people. And then finally, I'm also looking to make a major investment in Davies, state-owned vocational school. It's good, very good, excellent instruction, but it can be better. Every manufacturer you talk to says it's all about skills, it's all about job training. So we're bolstering our career and technical education, bolstering Davies, and then I have a package before the General Assembly right now to provide incentives for smaller manufacturers to buy equipment and train people. And I think if we get together to do this, we will see continued growth in the manufacturing industry. And I see Show Merchant back there, so there's at least one manufacturer I see back there, and many of you. The second thing I'm focused on, and you've heard a lot about this, is making sure that every Rhode Islander has the education and job training that they need to get a good job. So here's the good news. The good news is we're creating jobs. And companies like Johnson & Johnson and General Electric and Virgin Pulse and Raytheon and Electric Bow, they're choosing Rhode Island to add jobs. That's an amazing, it's a wonderful thing. Businesses are giving Rhode Island a fresh look. Thanks to the General Assembly, we have new economic development tools. In the past 15 months, we brought 15 companies to Rhode Island. That's one a month. That's good. That's all rolling up to creating these 15,000 jobs. Here's the thing. We have an obligation to make sure Rhode Islanders are getting those jobs. It's not okay with me if General Electric creates 500 jobs and the jobs don't go to Rhode Islanders. And the way that we're going to make sure that Rhode Islanders are getting these jobs is to make sure people have the skills and the job training and the education they need to get the jobs. So we're expanding, John mentioned, I am very passionate about workforce training. We've completely retooled the Governor's Workforce Board. We're expanding our apprenticeship programs. We're improving our career and technical education. We've become the first state in America to teach computer science in every public school in every grade starting in kindergarten. That's the pipeline. But we need to do more. We need to make college affordable. And so this year I'm asking the Assembly to pass the Rhode Island Promise Scholarships. It's a natural extension of all the work we've been doing. First year I came into office, we brought about all-day kindergarten for everybody, tripled the number of pre-K. I told you we're working on apprenticeship and job training. We got to make college more affordable. So the proposal that I have, the Rhode Island Promise Scholarship, are last dollar scholarships. You have to graduate from a high school in Rhode Island, You have to get into URI, CCRI, or RIC. You have to apply for financial aid and scholarships and exhaust all of that. And then for most students, there's a gap. And what I'm saying is in this Rhode Island Promise Scholarship, we'll pick up that gap so that we can guarantee everyone in Rhode Island 2 years of college. Either you take your 2 years and get an associate's degree at CCRI, or we'll take care of the last 2 years at RIC or URI. Someone said that's the mother in me. First you have to eat your good food, your carrots and your peas, and then you get the dessert. So you're on your own for years 1 and 2, and we'll take care of the second 2 years. So why are we doing this? Tennessee did this under a Republican governor and Republican legislature a few years ago. And I've talked extensively to the governor of Tennessee. He thinks it's probably the most important economic development thing he's done since being governor. In the time, they call theirs Tennessee Promise, so I wasn't very original in naming it. And they're doing the two years of college for Tennesseans. The cohort that has the scholarships, they've seen an increase by 80% in the likelihood that those people are going to graduate. Way too many students are going to RIC and CCRI and not finishing because they can't afford it. So here's what happens. They go for a couple of years, they're working 2 or 3 jobs, then they start to go part-time. Before you know it, they've been at school for 5 years, and then they drop out. They drop out. They got a bundle of loans, no degree, and they're not ready to get a job in one of your companies. So for a tiny amount of money, less than 0.5% of our budget, we can be one of the only states in America that makes sure that every Rhode Islander has the job training and education they need to get a job. It's a bold program, and I think it's necessary. Here's the deal. Almost all of the good jobs being created in our country right now are for people that have some degree past high school. Why do we end public education in 12th grade? I could save money by ending high school in 10th grade. Why 12th grade? Because you used to be able to get a job with a high school degree. When I got out of high school, not that long ago, really, not that long ago, most jobs in Rhode Island were for folks that had a high school degree. The world's changed. And if Rhode Island is going to thrive, if companies are going to want to be here and have jobs here, we have to make sure our people have the job skills that they want to hire. Since the recession, America's created 11.5 million jobs. Our economy's doing fine. That's a lot of jobs. We're basically at full employment. Of the 11.5 million jobs we've created, somebody take a guess how many of those were for folks that only have a high school degree? Out of 11.5 million, what do you figure? How many for people with a high school degree? What'd you say? 1 million? Not a bad guess. Would you believe 80,000? Of the 11.5 million jobs created, 11.4 are for people with some degree past high school. I was in Chicago a couple weeks ago trying to recruit a meeting with the CEO of a big company out there, trying to convince him to come here. I don't know this person. I walked into his office. He said, Rhode Island Promise, I love it. If you get that done, we are much more likely to come to your state. I said, why? He said, because our biggest limiting factor to growth is accessing people with the skills we need. So that's why I'm pushing this. There's a big article in yesterday's paper, maybe you saw it in the Providence Journal, about the work CCRI is doing. I'm not going to tell you this is the only thing we need to do to make higher ed work. 100% not. We need tighter relationships between our colleges and businesses. We need more online classes. We need to bring down the cost of providing higher ed. We need to make sure what we're teaching students is what businesses want. We need to improve the way we do remedial education, and we're working on all of that. But I am tired of meeting people who say, Gov, I am stuck in a dead-end job. I have $30,000 of debt. I don't have a degree. We're creating these jobs. Rhode Islanders deserve to have these jobs, and I'd like to say we're going to make a very modest investment to make sure we have the most talented workforce in America. My goal for this state is to create the best workforce development system in America. Because if we do that, businesses will want to be here. That's the name of the game today. So I'd like to ask for your support on the manufacturing program, on this program, and really just ask you for your continued support on everything that we do. By the way, John works very hard. He's in the State House all the time, advocating for your interests. And I feel very optimistic. I'm working as hard as I've been, but finally, for the first time in a long time, we got the wind at our back. The wind is at our back, we have momentum, there's a lot of reasons to be hopeful, so I ask you to recommit yourselves to Rhode Island, and let's take ourselves from 28 to the top 10. So thank you for having me, and if you want me to answer a few questions, I'm happy to do that.
Yeah.